I'm never going to feel ready. I'm going to continue messing around with settings and trying to make this sound like a professional podcaster. But I need to get it through my head that I'm a beginner. I don't have to come across as perfect first try. But start before you're ready. That's pretty much been the theme this month. I don't have good filming equipment or even good internet, but I have to let go of this idea that I need them and just start. It won't exist until I start, even if I don't feel ready yet. I'm not even starting a new drawing, I'm just finishing up the character lineup for Trust Anticipation, which I started months ago. I've been running on insane creative energy since June. I had a vendor table at my city's Pride Festival, and it left me abuzz with this desire to do more. As high-strung as it sounds, I've been journaling every day, making goals and plowing through them. I think this energy actually started mid-May, after I settled into my new room. I said to my therapist, as soon as I get my brain healthy, I'll be unstoppable. So, with my bank account dwindling, I opened a new journal, dated it, and wrote out some big goals for the rest of the year. Goal 1, get a job. Job acquired. I made a spreadsheet, spammed Indeed to the expected result, and had an interview that week from a place I had applied to months ago. Here's the thing. In December, I'm getting top surgery. It's fully covered. I've been dreaming about this for literally years, but as of Pride, that means I ostensibly have 5 months to rock my goals and do a ton of preparation, because for about a month, I'm going to be out of commission. Hopefully it's going to be a restful, healing Christmas with gaming, cozy writing, maybe some drawing once my arms start working again. But until then, I've got a couple big goals. First, I got to edit book 5. I'm going to storyboard my cosmic graphic novel. I'm going to hoard every dollar I earn. And I've already met this goal, but I got a gym membership. I tack on weekly and monthly goals as I go. There's a couple online classes I want to do. I'm probably going to need to take my car to the shop soon. Yay. And I need to save up for ISBNs, editing, the PC I want to build, and like all of the little things I wasn't able to afford last year. Yeah. That's what I mean when I say my creative energy has been insane. Since May, I've had sustained motivation to do as much as possible. I'm teaching myself how to build computers, learning Spine, Blender, Canva, planning a graphic novel, drawing for book 5. I'm also doing weekly writer meetups and hitting every class my library has to offer. Every day when I drive home, I pass the YMCA, and all I can think about is how nice it would be to take a dip in the pool after work. I'm excited. The next 5 months are so clear. I want to do all these things, and I am hitting my goals. So, what's the problem? I don't know if you've seen the state of the world lately, but things are scary in America. I'm a non-binary broke person seeking gender-affirming care in a state where access would be in danger in the next election cycle. I hate it here, but to motivate myself to not give up, I sought out community. And I'm pleased to say I've met some pretty awesome people. And after Pride, I feel like it was the culmination of all my efforts, and I really found my place in the community. I was seen, I was known, and it felt so good. Right after Pride, on my first day off in a couple of days, I woke up with a massive headache, one of those I need caffeine stat headaches. So I drove to grab coffee in my pajamas, and while half asleep, headphones on, I was spotted by a couple of teens who'd read my books. and swarmed excitedly. Suddenly the headache wasn't there. That's the community I want. I can't walk down the street without seeing somebody I know, and I love it. And that's kind of the point of this book. In book 5, the boys, Mark and Erwin, wind up in a poor but tight-knit community that has rebuilt their social nets. And now they have the opportunity to put down roots as members of this community. They meet Cliff, who's been going to an underground hospital to treat his eyes, which were injured when he was attacked by a shadow as a child. And they meet Danny, who's on the verge of running away from home without a real plan outside of the robust safety net they've built in this town. There's a general store that does daily free meals, free camping, and jobs for the wayward kids. And even in the old house that Mark and Erwin inherit, there's an orchard that supernaturally produces for an extended time each year, providing mountains of free food. I'm about halfway through the editing process and saving up for the professional edit, which is going to be yikes, because this book is about 250,000 words. I'd say this is my biggest project yet, but every book so far has been a new mountain to conquer. I'm still abuzz with ideas, plans, frustrations from the state of the world that motivate me to plow forward and not give up. But it's been a challenge fighting the limiting beliefs that come with being a poor queer person. Lows happen, but my motivation is not dependent on energy here. Well, maybe it's a bit dependent on coffee. Manifestation is a powerful thing. Book 5 will happen regardless of the timeline. And by next year, I'll have 3 big releases ready to rock. And hopefully with a little hard work, I'll have a job in my dream career, enough money to own my own home, and to finally settle into the life I've always dreamed about. I'm new to YouTube, so if you'd like to follow along on my projects, draw with me's, and cozy writing sessions, I would really appreciate it. I've got stories to tell and big things planned. In the meantime, stay safe out there and stay motivated to create.